After rising to fame in 2012, country duo Brian Kelly and Tyler Hubbard, known as Florida Georgia Line, hit a rough patch in 2021. They've recently opened up about their split, shedding light on the reasons behind it. Despite their initial success with hits like Cruise, their journey took a turn before their fifth album, Life Rolls On, released in 2021. Fans have been curious about a possible reunion tour, but for now, the duo is focused on their individual endeavors. After choosing separate paths for solo careers, Brian Kelly and Tyler Hubbard didn't directly discuss the future of Florida Georgia Line. But in a recent appearance on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, both artists decided to open up about their split. Hubbard went first, sharing his perspective, and later, Kelly followed suit after hearing the interview. Their candid discussions hint that a reunion for FGL might not be in the cards. What happened with Florida Georgia Line? In January 2021, Florida Georgia Line surprised fans with a video announcement on social media, revealing their plans to pursue solo projects. The duo didn't delve into the reasons behind their decision, leaving the possibility of a future FGL reunion open. Fast forward 3 years, and it seems that the gap between Kelly and Hubbard has widened even further. How did the breakdown of FGL start? On the podcast, Hubbard reveals that the rift started when Kelly approached him about going solo. He recalls Kelly saying, "Man, I'm really feeling like I want to do a solo thing." This came as a surprise to Hubbard, marking the beginning of their breakdown as a duo. Hubbard reflects on the situation, stating, "We were just getting out of our first deal. We were kind of in a sweet spot we'd worked for 10 years to get to, and I'm like, bro, why don't we just ride this thing out for 5 more years, 10 more years, and then we can do the solo thing?" This indicates his surprise and reluctance to break up the duo when they were at a peak in their career. But he definitely initiated the whole thing from the beginning, Hubbard clarifies. And when I say it caught me off guard, it wasn't that we had never mentioned it before, it's just one of those things where I didn't think anything was going to happen then. You know what I mean? This highlights Hubbard's surprise at Kelly's decision to pursue a solo career, despite the topic having been discussed previously. Kelly responds, stating, "We've had the conversation of having extra outlets since 2016, and then every 2 years after that." He adds, "I had voiced that I obviously want to keep doing FGL, but for me, in my off time when songwriters and creatives are alone, you find even more of yourself." This indicates that discussions about solo projects had been ongoing for years, emphasizing Kelly's desire to explore his individual creativity while still committed to Florida Georgia Line. And there's going to be songs over the years that, just being a songwriter, I'm going to write that aren't going to fit the brand of FGL, Kelly elaborates. "It was important for me to continue to honor my craft, my artistry, my songwriting." Did political differences split up Florida Georgia Line? Because Florida Georgia Line hasn't openly discussed the reason for their split, rumors have been swirling. With troubles surfacing around 2020, speculation mounted that it might have been due to a political divide they couldn't bridge. The political narrative came out that me and him were so different, polarizing politically, Hubbard shares. A lot of people had these false narratives about why this was even happening because we weren't super upfront with the fans from the beginning. That was also a little unfortunate. This sheds light on how false rumors, particularly about their political differences, emerged due to their lack of transparency with fans about the reasons behind their split. You can't control what people are thinking or saying, so you just gotta ride with it and stick to your truth and let it be, he adds. "I've read a lot and people have said it was political, but really the public issue started, I believe it was right after the election in 2020, Kelly recounts. He and his wife had unfollowed us, and I'm not exaggerating. He got on. You can go look up the videos. But he said, BK's posting some stuff, some political stuff, and I didn't want to see it." This highlights Kelly's perspective on the timeline of their public issues, particularly regarding an incident after the 2020 election involving political content on social media. "And he told me he liked me better in person than he did online," Kelly continues. "That caught me off guard as well, for my brother to have those thoughts and feelings. So that was the first kind of thing that happened publicly. So people, I can see how they started framing that. This reveals Kelly's surprise at the public revelation of his bandmates' feelings about him, leading to speculation and framing of their relationship dynamics. Kelly also mentioned a miscommunication regarding the timing of their solo projects. He explained that the initial discussion took place in September 2020, with the understanding that any plans to go solo would remain confidential until their fifth studio album released in February 2021. In January 2021, Hubbard teamed up with Tim McGraw for a collaboration called Undivided. They performed the song at President Biden's inauguration. To be honest with you, I was just a little caught off guard because I was told, and I was on board with this, that no solo music comes out before the FGL record, Kelly says. So I was all on board. And to get a call saying he's going to make a very visible statement and performance before the record and then go right to radio, definitely a little caught off guard. This reveals Kelly's surprise and confusion about Hubbard's decision to release solo music before their planned Florida Georgia Line album, especially with a high-profile performance like the one at President Biden's inauguration. Brian Kelly and Tyler Hubbard took a proactive step to salvage their partnership by attending therapy together. There were definitely some weeks of healing. We had talks with therapists and life coaches, and we've kind of sussed it all out, Hubbard reveals. Despite their efforts, Kelly admits, it was just a little bit of a grind to try to find a place that we can meet in the middle and understand each other, but it just never got to that place. This highlights their attempts to resolve their differences, but ultimately failing to find common ground. Will Florida Georgia Line ever reunite? Despite their separation, it seems Brian Kelly and Tyler Hubbard haven't completely dismissed the idea of a reunion. It's really hard to say, Hubbard explains. I'll never say never, but a lot of stuff would have to change, to be honest. He emphasizes a lot of dynamics there'd have to be some real long open conversations, and some healing would have to be done, for sure, before that would ever happen. This suggests that while a reunion isn't off the table, significant changes and discussions would need to occur before it could become a reality. You never know, man, Kelly says. I mean, look at the Eagles. There's lots of groups that have gone through way worse things than we have. At the height of everything, it never was really terrible, just seeing things different. This implies that a reunion isn't impossible, citing examples of bands like the Eagles who have overcome significant challenges. Despite their differences, Kelly suggests that their situation wasn't exceptionally dire, but rather a matter of seeing things differently. I think time will tell, he continues. I'm really focused on what I'm doing now. I know he's really focused. He just dropped an album, and I know he's putting a lot of hard work into what he's doing, just as I am. We'll have to see. Fans will have to wait and see what unfolds next for Florida Georgia Line. The duo's last performance together was in 2022, following a series of festival appearances. Additionally, their Nashville bar, FGL House, recently closed without much explanation. As for their other joint business ventures, there has been no word on their future. What are your thoughts on the split of Florida Georgia Line? Will they ever reunite, or will they continue on their solo career paths? It's a mystery that only time will answer. That's all for today's video, folks. Take care until next time.